Okay. Hello, everyone. I'd like to call this Dalton Community Cable Association meeting to order. And part of our committee, we have Rick White, Robert Bishop, John Ostrich, Nancy Ostrich, Jennifer Pierce, myself, and Terry, are you part of?
Town manager.
And our town manager.
Interim.
Interim, yes. Okay, before we start, when we get to the Q&A part, if anybody has any questions, please go to the podium so that we can hear you on the microphone for the camera in the back of the room, and so we can see you. Anyway, so this public hearing is regarding the renewal of the cable television license of Comcast Cable Communications Management, LLC. The purpose of this proceeding is to continue to A, identify the future cable-related community needs and interests, and B, review the performance of the cable operator under its current license. The current Comcast license ended more than a decade ago, so we're trying to work that out. And this hearing is being held in furtherance of the goals of the Federal Cable Act. Public notice of this proceeding was published twice. Here with us by video conference is Charters Massachusetts Director of Government Affairs, Nancy Clark. Welcome, Ms. Clark. And Ms. Clark is here with us to observe as these proceedings are part of the ascertainment process. We will not ask Ms. Clark to speak or address questions to Ms. Clark this evening. However, Ms. Clark, please feel free to be recognized to speak as we proceed if the need or occasion arises. We very much appreciate Ms. Clark being with us today, particularly given the short notice unintentionally provided. It reflects the commitment, it reflects the commitment of Charter to the town and PEG Access, which is Public Educational and Government Access / Community Television in Dalton. I will now briefly recognize the committee vice chair, Rick White.
So I just have a few brief comments to make about our public access television. First, does everyone know what PEG stands for? Eric just said it stands for Public Education and Government Access. PEG stations are community stations all over Massachusetts and actually all over the United States. And they provide many services to our communities. Let's talk about government for a minute. Dalton Community Television is essential for maintaining transparent local government. Live broadcast and archived recordings of select board meetings, town meetings, public hearings to ensure that all residents, including those who cannot attend in person due to work schedules, mobility issues, or family obligations, can stay informed about local decisions that affect their lives. Excuse me. Now I can really read it. Let's see. This transparency strengthens our democratic process and enables more residents to participate meaningfully in civic life. In a town like Dalton, where personal relationships and community trust are paramount, DCTV helps maintain accountability and keeps everyone connected to local governance. For Dalton students, this is the education part, a local PEG station provides invaluable hands-on learning opportunities in media production, broadcasting, journalism, and communications technology. Students can gain real-world experience creating content, operating equipment, and understanding media literacy skills that are increasingly important in today's digital society. Additionally, broadcasting school committee meetings, graduation ceremonies, sports events, theatrical performances, and academic achievements allows families to stay connected with their children's educational experiences. This is particularly important for families with children who attend the largest geographic school district in the state. This also allows the community to remain connected to the school district and educate our youth, the education of our youth. Shows like Our Kitchen, Bulls, Bears, and Bill, The Universe We Live In, Grateful Gardener, It's Okay to Golf, and others give learning opportunities to our town that they otherwise would not have, all of which are written and produced by residents of Dalton, your friends and neighbors. PEG Access Television serves as a living archive of Dalton's history and community identity. An example is the Veterans History Project. Coverage of annual events like Light Up the Holidays historical commemorations, local interviews with longtime residents, and documentation of changing landscapes preserves our town's story for future generations. In an era where local newspapers are disappearing and the national media ignores small-town stories, DCTV ensures that Dalton's unique character, challenges, and triumphs are recorded and remembered. These recordings become valuable historical resources for researchers, students, and future residents seeking to understand our community's evolution. DCTV is available to give local nonprofits, community organizations, churches, youth groups, and civic associations a platform to share their message, recruit volunteers, and promote community events. For a town like Dalton, this shared communication space strengthens the social fabric by helping residents discover opportunities to get involved, learn about our neighbors' initiatives, and understand the full range of activities happening in their community. It creates connections that might not otherwise exist and helps combat social isolation, particularly among elderly residents who may rely on television as their primary connection to the community life. DCTV allows some residents a chance to practice their faith when they otherwise would not have that opportunity. Oh, sorry. DCTV provides local businesses and entrepreneurs with an affordable advertising platform while also showcasing Dalton as a vibrant, well-connected community to potential residents and businesses considering relocation. Coverage of economic developments, initiatives, business spotlights, and community improvements projects that demonstrates Dalton's viability and forward-thinking approach. This positive exposure can help attract new residents and businesses while supporting existing local enterprises that might not have the budget for expensive regional advertising. Dalton Community Television is more than a channel. It's your platform, your storyteller, your window to our community. It's where your voice can be broadcast, where you can witness local government and school events from your living room, and where the ongoing story of our town is recorded. Best of all, this vital resource is funded by cable franchise fees, not your tax dollars. This is your station. Tune in, speak out. It's your platform and your community. Just another side note. Dalton Community Television is a place where anyone in the community can go, borrow equipment, record on that equipment, go back to the station, get assistance in producing that content into a show, and then get it broadcast in our community. There is nothing else like it. It's an incredible resource for our community, and it needs to be preserved. That's all I have. Thank you. I didn't stretch that out, I'm sorry.
Bob, do you want to go or?
Go ahead, Terry.
Okay. All right, folks, I'm going to let you know that we've received quite a few letters of support for Dalton Community Television. I'll read off a sprinkling of the names, and then I have a document which summarizes all these letters and hits all the important points, which I will then read. So we received letters from former town manager Ken Walto, Central Berkshire Regional School Assistant Superintendent Aaron Robb, Dalton Town Planner Yanko Tomasik, Executive Director and COA Senior Center Director Kelly Pizzi, Member of the Stormwater Commission and Planning Board Member Robert Collins, Vice Chair of the FinCom and Chair of the Stormwater Management Commission, Tom Irwin, creator and producer of 2 DCTV programs, and she's right here with us tonight, Rachel Branch, thank you. Former Dalton Fire Chief Christian Tobin, Dr. Henry Rose also sent in a letter. These letters of support for Dalton Community Television collectively emphasize the need for sustained support to maintain DCTV's presence and services in Dalton. DCTV provides reliable programming including local news, educational content, and coverage of town meetings. Again, these letters hit these points over and over again. The service is crucial for residents unable to attend meetings in person, enhancing community engagement and transparency. And we know today, transparency is top of the mind, or should be. Residents appreciate the ability of the local support, which contributes to a positive experience with Dalton Community Television. DCTV broadcasts important town meetings, including select board and finance committee meetings, ensuring residents stay informed. DCTV covers school events and meetings, enhancing transparency and community involvement in educational matters. The service helps combat misinformation by providing direct access to discussions and decisions affecting the community. Many seniors rely on DCTV for information, especially those who cannot attend evening meetings due to mobility issues. DCTV's programming allows these seniors to stay connected with community events and decisions, fostering civic engagement across the community. Community leaders urge Spectrum Charter to continue funding DCTV, Dalton Community Television, recognizing its vital role in local governments and community connection. So thank you to all those who sent in letters of support. They really, I think in a nutshell, tell us all we need to know about how important this resource is to our town. Bob?
Okay. To whom it may concern, I'm writing today as a loyal customer of Dalton Community Cable Association to express my strong support for continued service in our community. Since its inception, our residents have relied on Dalton Cable TV services for reliable information and consistent programming. Dalton Community TV appeals to many residents by providing a wide variety of timely programs, including local news, public interest, education, and sports. I also want to commend their customer service team. On a rare occasion I have needed assistance, the representatives at Dalton Cable have been responsible and helpful, resolving my issues efficiently. It's a great comfort to know that a local dedicated team is available to help their customers. In short, Dalton Cable is a valuable local partner that delivers excellent service and contributes positively to our area. I encourage you to support them in any way you can to ensure that they continue to be a staple in our community. Thank you for your time and consideration. This is signed and approved by the whole select board. Tony Pacaluro, Dan Esco, Mark Strout, Vice Chair John Boyle, and myself, Chair Robert Bishop. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
Next.
That's onwards.
Any second now.
Where would you like to go?
I think I'm set. You can move on.
Okay. Why don't we do comments from the audience?
Okay, sure.
And then
Yes, I think.
questions.
That's the comments.
We can go to Bill after.
Sure. Yep. If anyone's present who, due to other obligations or time constraints, needs to speak at this time, I encourage you to do so if needed. Again, go to the podium, please, if you'd like to speak on anything. Come on up.
We'll also take questions if anybody has them.
Right.
Rachel Branch, 600 Main Street, apartment 2K, Dalton. I just really want to say, I submitted a letter, how really important community television is because of the loss of our local newspapers and the reminder that cable companies are a monopoly. And that is why they have to provide the funds that we need for our local community television station. And I've been involved for over 20 years. And it's part of As I said in my statement, it's especially essential to provide the knowledge an informed citizenry requires when participating in civic and government policies. This cannot be overestimated. And it's free, and it's great fun.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to come up? Please.
Hi, Tony Tagliarulo, Old Windsor Road. Thank you for your remarks, everybody in the community. I just have questions, I guess. It's been over 10 years since the contract has been established. And I'm just curious, what will a new contract entail in terms of areas of funding and how long will that contract be?
Yeah.
So I'll try to answer that. I think some of that is a Bill Solomon question because he's the attorney dealing with this. But from what I understand, it's going to be a 10-year contract, and maybe he can correct that if I'm incorrect. But I believe it's a 10-year contract. Yeah, is that right? Okay. And some of the things we're going to get are we are going to ask for some upgrades to the TV studio. That's part of it. So there'll be some capital costs involved. The list is kind of too long to go through, but the TV studio hasn't had any capital improvements in probably 20 years. Correct me if I'm wrong, John.
No, that's right.
Other than stuff that we have bought and purchased through the studio funds. So we're looking for some capital improvements there. Some of the ideas for capital improvement, and this all depends on the amount of funds that the cable company is willing to give us for these. But some of them are upgraded cameras, upgraded digital equipment. We have analog equipment right now. We don't have digital equipment, and it's very important to go digital, especially since the analog equipment is no longer produced and or maintained. So we really want to upgrade that. We'd love a new kitchen for the cooking shows, and we'd love some other things, improvements in the studios like lighting and things of that nature. Yeah, and our improved internet connection would be great, and I'm hoping that we can negotiate an improved connection for our broadcast. Our broadcast right now, we're unable to broadcast in HD because of the signal quality that goes out. So we'd really like that upgraded as well. So those are some of the bigger costs.
Any other questions? Okay. Oh, either one.
I didn't know if you could see me. I'm Michelle Moranz. I'm really excited by the prospect of new equipment and additional equipment. And I am wondering if the contract could include microphones for our select board members so that they can speak into a microphone and people in the audience can hear what they're saying. I also would appreciate a microphone like this for the speak out sessions and any guests that we have at our town committee meetings too. That would be very, very helpful. And, you know, I've heard residents complain about the fact that they can't hear it's broadcast, but they hear better at home than in the audience. And I would hope that we could remedy that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I say two things about that?
Sure.
So I agree completely. And the other thing we're looking to get is closed caption. So if you can't hear them, you'll be able to read it on the bottom of the screen, which will be nice, which we do not have currently. So anyway, please.
You had a question?
I did.
I'm Sue Doucette. I live here in Dalton, been here since, I don't know, 40 years or more. I'm also president of the board at PCTV. So I understand fully what you're going through to try and get a contract with Spectrum. PCTV's contract expired 2 years ago, I believe, and we've been working, you know, with Bill Solomon and others to get that contract resolved for 10 years. My question is, why have you gone so long without a contract? That's a long time. And to not get the capital funds, so that people understand, you get a percentage of the franchise fees. I'm hoping you get 5%, which is the most Spectrum will give, but they'll fight it. But you also need the capital funding to maintain this equipment. And Spectrum needs to realize nothing in this world is the cost going down on. Nothing. So they need to maintain or improve the monies that they're already giving, because everybody's costs are going up on every single thing.
Can I answer that one too? Yeah.
Sure.
And I'm going to say a few words, but maybe John can expound on what I'm saying after I'm done. We had this committee, I've been on this committee for over 10 years. And about 10 years ago, I believe, and plus or minus, the merger happened between, was it Spectrum and Time Warner. And during that time, we were in negotiations to get a new contract at that time. And the people we were negotiating with disappeared. They fell off the face of the earth as far as we were concerned, because we had no contact with them at that point. At that time, we contacted state senators and other folks to try to get the negotiations back on track, and of course the cable company. Nothing happened, and we could not make anything happen. It's crazy. They would not even return our calls, emails, nothing. So it kind of got, pushed aside until now. I'm not sure in between what happened really, but at that time, that's what happened. And that's why we don't have, I believe, a current contract today.
I'm also happy to sit and talk with anybody about some of the grant opportunities that are available and the funding partners that PCTV has that I don't think would take away from PCTV, and certainly, Berkshire United Way and other organizations who have funded closed captions translated into Spanish if you need it, and all the other things.
That's great. I'd love to, I'm the president of the board of Dalton Community Television, so I would love to sit down with you. That would be great. And I'm the technology director at Pittsburgh Public Schools, so I work with Sean and Dave and those guys. So I'm familiar with PCTV, very familiar.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
May I apologize for
Yes,
being
yeah.
late.
I'd like to introduce our
We're on kind of the back end, Bill.
council.
Oh, you okay? Yeah.
We're kind of at the questioning stage in here.
Yeah. No. I just what I was going to say at the
Why don't you
beginning,
go ahead?
and might simply be relevant. Bill Solomon, especially Cable Council. This is the one hearing where if people repeat what someone else says, that's fine. I mean, I used to be a town council, and sometimes, bless myself, but other people would say, oh my goodness, everyone's saying the same thing, we're here forever. But in a cable hearing, what you say has to matters. We have a charter representative, I believe, on video conference, and they want to hear what the residents think and about the program. And if someone speaks and says what you were going to say, we could sit down with the charter representative going forward, and we would say, well, this need and interest is very important to the town. And the representative could say, well, at the hearing, only one person spoke about that. And there might have been 5 people, but you all wanted to be polite and not say the same thing. So this is your chance. You want to be heard. I don't think there's many municipal functions where the public can have more of an impact in a positive way and make a difference than in a cable hearing. So don't be shy. If you have something to say, please feel free to say it. Thank you.
Definitely.
Hi, Jimbo Doucette, 10 Range Drive. I was going to say ditto to everything Bob Bishop said. I go to a lot of town meetings, and somebody is usually almost always here from Dalton Community Television. And I know, I talk to people, they say, I saw you at the meeting. They watch it from home because they don't want to go out at night after dark, or they're not able to drive anymore, or they have to stay home to take care of somebody. It's really important to have Dalton Community Television supporting the meetings and making things transparent. So you don't say, well, I heard such and such. No, you actually heard the person say that on television. You're not just relying on what somebody else said they heard. So I think DCT is very important for the town of Dalton.
Thank you. Any other questions? Tony?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for saying that, because I was thinking of saying what I'm about to say. And I was just talking with Rob back there, and it's certainly not my area of expertise whatsoever, but 10 years of technology, changes happen rapidly, and 10 years hence, my concern would be, and I think Rob would support this, is that our community cable now is presented via YouTube. Well, I don't know what's going to happen to YouTube in terms of they presenting community cable. And I would hope that somewhere in this contract, if we would have the autonomy or the independence to have our own streaming service where residents would tap in and say, well, there's Dalton Community Cable, and then a menu of items, that we wouldn't be beholden to YouTube or any other streaming service per se. I know they're a provider, but we would control our content and make it for everyone.
May I comment briefly on that? Sure. Thank you, and thank you for the comment. This being a cable license, the issuing authority, the select board in town, have regulatory authority over cable television, but not internet or telephone. And when streaming meetings on the internet first started, cable companies often would say, well, the cable subscribers are supporting the community television PEG access program, and so if the people on the internet get it, then they're not supporting it. And actually there's a bill in the legislature to require folks who use the public way and stream to contribute. But so there's the idea that that's different. So in working with the committee, I know the committee and the town feels that cable TV and having community television on cable is of primary importance. But that said, after an FCC decision in 2019, it's pretty clear that when a company is a cable company, the reason they're in the public way to provide internet service and telephone service as a cable company, they can choose to be another company, type of company, is because they have a cable franchise. The FCC says when they have a cable franchise, a cable license, they have the right to provide internet service and telephone service, and the community can't charge them for that, can't compensation for that, and you're not allowed to regulate them, which is very odd that they have the right to use the public way, the municipal public way, but somehow you can't regulate or be compensated for their using your asset. But what that does mean is that because they're providing internet service due to the cable franchise, the idea that a community and its PEG Access Corporation stream that programming on the internet, which they only have the right to because of the cable franchise, seems perfectly normal. So that streaming the content on the internet is consistent with the fact that that's how they have internet business. And while they earn money from that, we're not allowed at this point to get revenue from it, but they earn money from it. So that it's perfectly fine, as people on the municipal side see it, to stream on the municipal, on the PEG Access program, and not just be on social media. And I do think, in my old town council days, that social media, you have to belong to it. You might have to join it. YouTube not, but there's costs for that depending on how you get it. And so, it's a real positive if an access corporation can have, as you say, its own ability to stream, and people go to that website, which can be connected to the town for purposes of the government channel, and see it. So I think it's a great idea, and it's totally consistent, as I see it, and I've explained to the committee, with how the cable company gets the right to provide that very same internet service. So that's a plus, and if that's a goal, which I know it is the committee and therefore the public, then that's something that should be pursued.
Bill, did you have any more?
No, you know, I just wanted what I said before about don't be shy. Thank you.
Okay, sure. So, Bill, what about this one?
I would add, if the committee members would like to be heard, you know, you have the right to be heard at your hearing. If there's anything further, I'm sorry I missed, you might have spoken already.
No, we haven't.
Oh, okay, feel free to.
Not so much like with this, but yes.
Rick gave a very nice dissertation.
I'm sure, no, absolutely.
Great. So where would you like to go?
I think we're at comments they did. I think we're
I
here.
had letters.
Okay.
Oh, did you read those?
Okay. And then I was thinking,
Oh, okay, great.
Maybe say
Yes.
all right, so I just wanted to mention that I started in television in 1989 at Pittsfield Community Television, and in 1993 I came to the Dalton station. I'm from Dalton, but the Dalton station was much smaller in 1989, or it might have been on hiatus, I'm not certain at that point. I wasn't aware of a station in Dalton at the time. So I was part of the Explorers group in Pittsfield from 1989 to 91, 92, something like that. And I actually took over the Explorers group when the director of the station, Garrett McCary, wasn't available to run the group anymore. So I've been involved with a lot of things, capturing live football games, hockey games, softball games at the old softball complex, going to all the high schools and broadcasting around the area. I would like to see something like that happen with the Dalton station for the Dalton sports, if possible. And then I was a volunteer at the Dalton station from 1993 to 95. And so I think it's a great station, and I like what we're doing, what we've been doing, and I like the areas that we will hopefully be going further into. And I'd like to see that expanded more budget-wise as well as scope-wise as well. Does anyone else have any more questions related to that before we move on? Yeah.
Excuse me. My name is John Ostrich. I was president of Dalton Community Television for about 30 years. And it started our first broadcasting in 1991. We found out that there was money available for public access in Dalton. And so we pursued, get permission to become the public access facility. And it took a while, and when we first went on the air and tried to do like select board meetings and whatnot, initially the select board wasn't overly thrilled about public access until, as somebody said, they made a comment to one of the selectmen, "I saw you on TV. You did a nice job." And after that, they all became TV stars. But over the years, we have tried to present meetings. There is some sports that have been done by volunteers. The cooking show, we've always had a cooking show. Initially, we had a member who was a professional chef, and he used to bring in chefs from other areas, and restaurants, and they would do a little cooking exhibit. Unfortunately, all we had for a kitchen was a hot plate. And so at that point, that was fine. Eventually, it went on, and we had a number of well-done programs. One was called All in Good Taste, and that was done by Brian Rebuse, who was at the school. The cooking show prior to our kitchen was called The Happy Cookers. And that was when Debbie Mary was in the office at the town hall and a friend of hers. And they had a lot of fun with the show, and they presented, you know, a variety of great things. And then our kitchen started after that. And that started, it's been on about 10 years. They've done over 300 shows. Those kinds of things are things that people, anybody in the public can come in and either do a series or do a single program. You know, we know it gets watched. It is starting to appear now on our website. I think eventually there was a plan to try and do some kind of streaming, but we don't have the equipment for that just yet. But that's one of the things we hope to improve on. So it's got a good history, and you know, we've had good response. One of the ways you can get, I think, direct, and I have to go, Michael, our station director, is out with a cold, so otherwise he could explain it better. We do have a subscription that you can just subscribe to Dalton, and then through that subscription you can get any of the programming that you want. So it's something that I've enjoyed for all these years, and we have a great group now that is looking to go forward. I had to resign because of health issues, but the other thing that happened is we worked analog all those years, and as we brought in new directors, things started changing to the digital field, and at that point I said, it's time for me to retire. So, but they've done a great job, and I'm sure they will continue to do a great job. Thank you.
I was wondering, you know, that was a great introduction to something, if I might just give it a shot, since we have folks here. Let's just ask a few questions. Name some types of programs, including what you just mentioned, cooking, and just maybe by show of hands, see if people would be, they or their family or people they know would be interested, if I may do that. I haven't done it before.
To watch or be involved?
Yeah, well, watch, and then we can then say afterwards be involved. So let me list the programs, and I'm really following up on your real experience. What I do know is, since the last license, the technology improvements on hot plates.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you can build out somewhat of a studio in the modern day, kitchens are, you know, had been and still are the number one request to have those cooking shows, to have something local. I always tell the story that I never would watch a makeover show. I mentioned this to the committee once. And where I lived and had great community television. And one day I'm turning the channel and it's a makeover show of a person getting a makeover. And it was one of the local salons, and a local person I didn't know. But, you know, it was intriguing. It was very interesting. And so I found out about a local business, a local person, because it had a real connection. It wasn't someone who, you know, there's no connection to me. It had a connection and made something that I otherwise would not have found interesting. And I think that's what real life, as opposed to virtual life, or you know, means in a world where people are, you know, need to connect more. So let me go through. Maybe we could just have a show of hands, and then you could, Mr. Chair, you could indicate whether a majority of folks voted they or you or a family member or someone you know, if you think someone in that group would be interested. And just say if it's unanimous or it's a majority or not. Sure. Go through it, all right? So business spotlight, there it goes. A series of programs highlighting local businesses. They would emphasize each business's products and services, their history and growth. Would people like to see a business spotlight show?
I would.
Sure. Unanimous.
Okay. Recreation report, a program designed to inform residents of upcoming recreational programs and events in Dalton.
Nearly everyone.
Okay. Public safety reports. Reports and shows by public safety personnel, including police, fire, board of health, keeping Dalton residents and businesses informed about public safety matters and concerns.
Really
Almost
unanimous.
Dalton Forum, an in-depth interviews and discussions with town and community representatives.
Definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
You're holding out for a lot of them, aren't you?
Almost everybody. Almost everybody.
I scan and oh, there's one with no hand up.
All right. Dalton special events, including parades and memorial events. I mean, I'm sure you do that when you had a program live and tape coverage of special events in town, such as parades and celebrations.
Okay.
Yeah.
Unanimous?
That's a good one.
Dalton History, a program showing and discussing Dalton history.
Yeah, that's good.
All right.
Unanimous?
Dalton Arts, a program featuring local artists who could be invited to display their work.
Sue raised her hand, kind of.
Dalton Youth Sports, live and videotape coverage of Dalton High School, middle school, I know your regional school, and youth sports, including football, basketball, hockey, soccer, baseball, field hockey, things like that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, local, you like it.
Mostly. Majority.
All right. Sometimes she has issues there. Dalton Youth, a show produced by and for Dalton's youth.
Give them a leg up here.
Okay. Now let's go to the other, Dalton Seniors, a regular series which addresses issues concerning senior citizens and provides information about areas of interest, including financial issues, keeping active and healthy, etc. What's cooking? We already know that. Dalton's own food channel includes chefs from Dalton restaurants, new and old, culinary talent currently best known by their own family.
Oh,
yeah.
All right, great. Gardening tips and information, advice from Dalton's successful lawn and garden businesses, featuring on-location tours of gardens of Dalton residents.
Definitely.
We do that.
I love that. That's great.
If anyone else has anything else they can think of, feel free to mention it. But I mean, that's a pretty good showing that there's a very sincere, real need and interest. People love localism, and as your program continues to grow and expand and improve, you're going to be able to meet that need.
I have a suggestion.
Yes.
Pet connection.
Oh, Pet Connection?
Pet connection.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
good idea.
Pets available for adoption.
Yep. Oh.
That's a really good idea.
Raising hands.
Let me say one. I just want to elaborate a little bit on what Bill has said. We started a lot of programs that happened, and we didn't really expect how well they would go. But to comment on some of the things that Bill mentioned, we had a police show right in the beginning by our chief at the time, and it was called Chief's Forum, and it was Dan, and he loved to get out and do things in the street. We did radar programs, we did a LiDAR program, we did crossing programs, and he also did programs concerning how the police was functioning. We've done sports programs. We had some youth come into the studio, and actually from the high school, and do, I think they did 1 or 2 seasons, and then I guess they graduated and moved on, and that hasn't happened since then. So there's a lot of the things that he has mentioned and that we have done, but it needs people like you or your friends to volunteer to do some of these things, because our staff of 2 can't get out and do everything. And so it does help if we can get other members of the community to come in and offer their volunteer time, either to do sports or meetings. There's a variety of meetings we could do. We just don't have the time and the staff to do them. So think about that, and if you know someone that might be interested, just have them come over to the studio. It's on Park Avenue. It's our own facility, and the people that are there, generally either Michael or Robert back there, would help put something together for you so you could, produce a program and end up showing it on public access, on YouTube, and people then would enjoy, those kinds of things.
And just great, a follow-up to that, maybe, again, a show of hands, how many people would sincerely be interested in they or a family member having the opportunity for training on how to use a camera, how to edit a film at Dalton Community Television, maybe by show of hands, who would be interested in that, or a family member? So it looks about half. All right. One on the list, since we did the other one, if I could, just the various meetings of the town of Dalton. I was going to list those and ask, again, by a show of hands, would you or a family member be interested in seeing this sort of programming? The select board meetings are now cablecast, so that would continue. School committee, is there one school committee or two? One. School committee meetings. Any interest?
Yeah.
All right. Good majority. Now, the next meetings, I use the word significant planning board meetings. On larger issues. Planning issues. Right. So describe that just for the record, as they say. As they say in a deposition. If you could, did you describe what the quantum of vote was there?
Yeah, it seemed like the majority.
Yeah, pretty close.
And so a few weren't raised.
Okay. Significant conservation commission meetings.
Majority.
Okay.
Majority.
Yep. Significant finance and advisory board committees, meetings. All right, large majority, well, pretty large majorities. Significant Board of Health meeting. Maybe. All right. All right.
Majority.
It's a majority.
Front row is tough.
And, people have mixed feelings on this. Do you televise town meetings?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you do that, all right. So the continuation of televising town meetings by a show of hands? Almost unanimous. All right, well, thank you.
Sure, thank you. And one other one, I know you mentioned art, but would anyone specifically be interested in potentially hosting or at least watching a painting program similar to Bob Ross's program?
Make one
Three people.
comment to that.
5, 6, 7.
We did have, maybe some of you may have remembered, Bob Burke, Robert Burke. He did a painting program similar to Bob Ross's, and he essentially taught people a little bit on how to, create a painting, and he did that for a long time, and then he, I guess, eventually moved out of the area. But a lot of the programs that Bill was mentioning, we've had gardening programs. We've had the what they call the STARS program. We've had golf programs. We were looking for somebody to do like a fishing program or a whittling program. And, just another creative craft kind of situation. And so, all of these things do add content and, viewership to a station. So I would encourage anyone to get involved in it.
I consume all the thoughts here, but it ties in directly with where the country's at, which is that there's a consensus, as you know, about making things, producing things, crafts, trades, things that were lost, that are real and substantive and productive and allow for a country to to have jobs and make things in the United States. And so I think that really meets the interested measure of where the country is and where it is going forward. And again, what better connection than to do it locally, where people can watch people do this and maybe go to their local business or their craft. So much of this supports, and it's just a term, but you've already said it. Particularly if you have the business shows, restaurants and other businesses and people who work from their home. It's all part of the local economy. That community television and Dalton community television, and I've seen this in my months here, is an important part of the local economy. And sometimes people, and as pointed out sometimes, if you change people's shopping habits 1 or 2%, that's a tidal wave when it comes to local businesses who want to get their message out. In fact, I will say that I know in a smaller town, the restaurant I was planning to go to beforehand, but I was working and would like to go afterwards, I know they may not be open. But I went online, and there was a video explaining in January 2024 how the chef, wife of the owner, was having surgery, and they're only having pizza and meatballs for a month and salad, and they'll go back to the restaurant. You know what? Those kind of shows where you can connect with people really make a difference. And you shouldn't have to go to YouTube and find something when you can find it on your own local channel.
That's right.
Good point.
Good point. Yeah. Okay, cool. I guess we're.
Can I say something?
Yes.
I think one of the most important shows that John has done is we show every 9/11 every year. 2 men meet in the stairwell. We have a local man that was in the 9/11 when the towers were hit. And he brought a friend that was a friend now, man that went in other towers. They came together during that terrible time and helped people out of the towers. And we show that every year to remember that there's always, our country is not safe as it should be, but that's part of history, and it's very important.
Thank you. All right. Did anybody have any more questions? Oh. I saw yours first, so come on up.
I do want to give a little shout out to the Berkshire Eagle and the fact that even though a lot of communities across rural and small towns have lost their local papers, we're lucky to still have the Eagle. And we've gotten a whole lot of coverage in Dalton because they've hired a new reporter who's here tonight, Dylan Thompson. As a result of the Berkshire Eagle article, when SNAP benefits were discontinued on the federal level, there was the article in the Berkshire Eagle really educated a lot of us about the fact that in Dalton, over 760 people rely on SNAP benefits. And I'm chair of the Dalton Democratic Town Committee, and a number of our members were very concerned about food insecurity for those people. And we did a lot of emailing around to try to generate donations and support for the food banks in the area. And I've learned that we have 4 in Dalton alone. These are primarily church-sponsored, but they're very active food distribution centers. So my question to you is, and I'm very intrigued about how would we use community television to make that effort, to make that community-wide appeal to our residents to help, because I'll tell you, just sending out emails about this, people really stepped up. And wanted to help. And so I'm just curious to know how community television would help in a situation like that.
Sure. So, I think that community television could certainly help with that. I think someone would need to come forward, though, and volunteer their services to create some sort of programming that highlights the need for support of our food banks in the town. Would you be willing to come forward? We'd be happy to run the cameras, edit the video, do the sound, right? I say we. Thanks, Robert. And make that happen. All you need to do is sit in a studio and say the words. Come up with the words and say them. Yeah, we'd be happy to help out. And it's your local community television station, so it will cost you nothing to do that,
Thank you.
other than your time.
One of the possibilities for doing that with a camera person and an interviewer is to go to the food banks and talk to the people who run them, and then see if you can get some of the people who use that service to speak on television and let others know how important it is that, for what they receive and how they manage to feed their families. And again, it wouldn't have to be a big, long thing, but if you can get 2 or 3 people that way and then do some interviews with the people who run these things. We run one in Pittsfield, and we've run it for, 20 years? And the people who come in, there's never any questions asked. You walk in the door and there's some food, and we also offer personal supplies. But the people that, we got to know a lot of them, and they're always very happy and thankful that we're there to be able to, provide what we can provide. And ours is strictly a donation kind of a thing. So that would help the people who are doing the programs recognize and show how donations that they receive and how they, fund their own programming. So it wouldn't take a lot of effort, but it could be done and be very effective.
Thank you. Thank you. And we had another question here.
Thanks. I have a question and a couple of unrelated comments. First, my question is, who owns the building that PCTV is in?
So Dalton Community Television Association owns the building.
Excellent. Okay.
Yeah, we purchased that, I don't know. When
About 95.
95.
It came on the market, and at one time there had been a food market.
I used to live down the street on Pine Street. I know what it used to be.
There was a time period, there was some other little businesses in there, and then eventually it came up for sale. And driving by one day, I saw a sign that said, for sale. So I contacted the realtor, and within a couple of weeks, he confirmed that it was available. And so we all went down and looked at it and decided, hey, it's a home finally.
Nice.
And we figured for what it was costing us for rent, and only a little bit more, and we could afford to buy that building. And that was
awesome.
Back in 95.
Great. So then that's 30 years ago. Is
Yeah.
the mortgage paid off yet?
All was paid off in 5 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, mainly because any longer would have required a big balloon payment. And we didn't have that ability, but we did able to budget. Even though we didn't have a big budget, we were able to budget for the rent and a little bit extra, and we paid it off.
That's awesome. Congrats. That's really well done. Well done. So my other comments when Bill was listing names of shows, like what about a how-to show, or I have a friend who's a woodworker, and he might love something like that. I did a children's programming for PCTV 10 years or so ago when I worked for Pittsfield Public Schools with young children, which was fun, but like a parenting group or, something could be done too. Also, go to the National Honor Society about your ideas for the food banks and see if they might have students come and help you do that. Students need those volunteer hours, or they want them. Find a local Boy Scout troop. They always like to do projects like that. Girl Scouts, if they're still around, I don't know. But any kind of youth group at church, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
I should respond to one. You did a children's program. We did one many years ago called Story Time with Stephanie. And we had the kids from, some from Craneville and I think some from St. Agnes, the young ones.
Yeah, yeah.
And they would come in and she would read stories to them. And it was a great program, so.
A lot of fun.
Yeah.
The camera crew loved when the kids came in.
Oh, yeah.
They said children and pets.
Any other questions?
Or comments?
Okay then, I guess we're here.
I think so.
All right. Well, I realized, I guess I didn't properly introduce myself at the beginning. I introduced everyone else, but I'm Eric Shepard. My father's Bob Shepard, former science teacher. Some of you probably know him. Everybody knows my dad.
There you go.
Anyway, if you have any written comments and letters after this, they can be submitted to the Select Board's office, which will be addressed further by the town manager. And thank you to all who came to the ascertainment proceeding this evening. Your voice matters and has been heard. Thank you.
Thank you.
Move to adjourn.
Move to adjourn. Move to adjourn, someone second? All in favor? Aye. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.